Hello, and welcome back to Strategy Snacks. I'm Frenchie Ferenczi, and today we are here with an audience question that I'm going to answer. Our question today comes from Kristina Bleiler, and Kristina is a brand strategist and designer who creates innovative brand identities for primarily personal brands and service providers. And her question is really exciting for me to answer because it's very niche to her world, but I think really important and relevant to all sorts of stuff that we're working on. So here's the question. Since I'm a brand strategist, I'd love to hear your thoughts from the marketing and business perspective when it comes to marrying branding efforts with marketing efforts. Do you find it's easier for businesses to market themselves when they have a clear understanding of their brand? How might a marketing strategy support a rebrand, reveal, or launch of a new offer in a way that can increase sales? Okay, so there are a lot of questions baked into this question, so I'm going to break it down kind of one by one. So the first question is, do you find it's easier for businesses to market themselves when they have a clear understanding of their brand? Yes, 1,000%. So I think this is really a twofold answer. The first part is that as a brand strategist, such a big part of that is understanding your audience, your messaging, your values. And marketing is so much easier when you know what it is that you want to communicate, how you want to communicate your message, how you want to communicate your values. So at the foundational level, even just talking about yourself and talking about what you do with more confidence is so tied to that brand strategy piece. And so I would say that for anyone listening, it is not just about that visual brand identity, which I think is what we tend to think about when we think about branding, but rather it's about thinking about what is the identity, what's your brand's almost personality? And if you were to introduce your brand at a party, how would you talk about them? Like, those are the types of things that I think are really important to factor in and to keep in mind. So then, as the secondary question here, Kristina asked, how might a marketing strategy support a rebrand, reveal, or launch of a new offer in a way that can increase sales? This is really interesting because I think that when it comes to thinking about a rebrand overall, a lot of times what I see happen is that it is just like a thing, and then you put it out there, and then you carry on, rather than actually using it as a moment to bring more attention to your business, to draw more attention to what you're doing and who you are and who you're for. And I definitely believe that is a real missed opportunity. And I think it happens by accident because we just don't always prepare for it, or it can feel weird to just talk about ourselves all the time. But when you're thinking about a rebrand, right? And taking a few steps back, one of the things that I always recommend is really figuring out a way to build your own platform, have your own marketing moment at least once a month. And if we work together, you've heard me talk about this. If we ever end up working together, you will hear me talk about this. And a rebrand can really be that moment to create this new stage. So maybe along with a rebrand, you launch a new offer, and it really creates this overall momentum, and people are always curious to see a visual rebrand. So it really does drive a lot of engagement with your audience. I think that you can really think about, how do you treat a rebrand reveal in the way that you would treat a launch? Because truly, if you can build up that early energy, that early excitement, and then bring eyes to it, it can be really powerful. And so I think the same is true for the launch of a new offer. And I would say that all of it has to do with the fact that we want to help people understand why they should care, why they should be excited. Because ultimately, whenever we're thinking about if it's easier for a brand to market themselves, when they're clear on their brand identity, then that should trickle down into everything that you do. And so rather than it feeling like you just talking about this thing that you're selling, it actually expands and opens the conversation into an invitation into this ecosystem that you've created, into this identity that you've created, into this space and this experience that is a reflection of your brand. So there is a lot to unpack here. And so I just want to say, if you're listening, a couple key takeaways is always be thinking about how your brand shows up in the world. And I really like this frame of reference of how would your brand, if it were a person, show up at a party, right? Or how would you introduce them at a party? Because I think that lending that human quality to it can be really impactful and can make it much easier to talk about. The second piece is to never miss the opportunity to take an important moment and make it bigger. And I think the mistake that you can easily make there is to think that everyone's going to be excited about your rebrand, but what you need to do is actually give people a reason to get excited. Why is it relevant to them? And so maybe it's not just that there's a rebrand, but that it comes along with a new offer or a new experience or some other iteration of the brand journey that you've been on that you can invite people into. So it's really about inviting people in rather than being like, look at me. Those are my super high level thoughts on all of this. I would love to hear anyone listening. If you have follow-up questions, please DM me or email me. Let me know. Kristina, thank you so much for asking this question. I think this is a really important and complex question. And I would say that for anyone listening, if you need more insights into everything that you're doing or thinking about doing in your business, specifically when it comes to your brand, make sure that you connect with Kristina and learn from her too, because I know that she is a definite expert in all of this. Thank you all for being here. We will be dropping notes in the show notes and links to follow Kristina, connect with Kristina, as well as some other fun stuff from us. So make sure to check out the show notes and we'll be back with more strategy snacks soon. Bye.